anybody to buy the land or whatever. Now, if an investor wanted to buy that land, and that's what they were trying to keep other people out of the land to jack the price up as they saw, right? That's kind of not verbatim, but that's what was said. If an investor wanted to do that, all they would have to do is study or look at the plan that was presented a year or two ago about the Brant Pike revitalization, and then just buy that land if that's what they wanted to do. So there's a point there, right? That you could buy that land. So having that executive session, I don't know. Was it needed? That's for you to decide. Now, there's still the question of where is the $28,000? Checks are written, right? It's on opengov.org for Huber Heights. The checkbook is there. We saw them. If you've been paying attention to things being posted on Brick City Town Hall or the other pages like the real Everything Huber Heights, Anything Huber Heights, Anything and Everything or Huber Heights, those different Facebook pages. Another thing to note is during that conversation, the city attorney said that, and now let me find this and be accurate here. The city attorney, the sums were not paid to one particular person. Now, is that true? I know at least two of the checks were. And briefly searching for the third, I didn't find it. And in full transparency, I didn't find it. So it may have been paid to the same person. It may not have. But if it was, then it was. Then the sums were paid to one particular person. Why was he confused on that? You know, and to the questions asked by the citizen who asked those questions, was there a vote? There was. There was a vote, right? Or wasn't there? I don't know if there was, because I don't remember seeing a vote to pay the $28,000. Okay, and 3 individual checks, one $4,000 check, one $20,000 check, and another $4,000 check. Mr. Lyons said, for this failed land purchase, why did it fail? We don't know. The mayor said a potential of negotiations. So there, according to that September 23rd meeting, there wasn't negotiations, but there was a potential for more negotiations. So is it a failed land purchase or not? That was not clear on September 23rd. Mr. Lyons did write an email that has been posted online. And that email reads, from Mr. Lyons to Mayor Gore on Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. Mayor, I have agreed to meeting with you, the city manager, and anyone you feel necessary in the next few days to discuss my concerns. I have been uncomfortable regarding how we handled the failed land purchase this past year at a cost of $28,000 to the city, with a $4,000 check on December 26, 2018, a $20,000 check on March 20th, 2019, and a $4,000 check on March 25th, 2019. My concerns include the fact that I have not seen a single contract with the third party or property owner, nor have I seen the appraisal for the property as I have previously requested. So he's already previously requested this information and has not received it. Reading on. I am not saying they do not exist. I am just saying that I have requested them multiple times and have still not received them. It has been over 90 days since this failed land purchase, and I have been patient and waiting for the leadership to take ownership of this issue through the proper council action. Sincerely, Ed Lyons, Huber Heights City Council, Ward 6. Now, reading that email and knowing just the structure of City Council, we know that generally speaking, Mr. Lyons sides with Mr. Gore and Mr. Campbell on many issues. But this issue, he has not received the information he wanted and felt the need to write an email, make it a public record. If you have paid attention in the past, the citizen who came to speak is quite possibly friends with Mr. Lyons, because there have been other actions that have happened, and we'll just call them other actions throughout the city that have happened, where we have seen the citizen who spoke. Right? It is very possible that this was when the citizen came to speak. This was he wrote the email on the 18th. She spoke on the 23rd. It's possible he may have asked her to speak, or she pointed it out to him prior and then wanted to come up and have that dialogue that we just heard. So it's very interesting. Where's the $28,000? Was it spent for this failed land purchase? I think we have the answers to that. But why did it fail? That's the question. If it did fail, why did the city waste $28,000? Because if it's not being used for anything else, it's wasted funds, your tax dollars. That is question number one. Where's the money? Or why did the money get spent, and why did it fail? And it's good to have these public records. It's good to understand what our council is doing and the business that they are conducting on our behalf as a collective city taxpayer. Correct? I think so. It's good to have these public records. Now, we also know that public records have come under fire and in question by certain council members. Councilmember Morgan from the 3rd Ward has questioned this, and we're going to go over that right now. And on the next clip, I'm going to play another citizen who came up to speak and had great points to make. And there was an exchange between the citizen and Mr. Morgan on public records. Here's that interaction right here.
So, public records, Melissa McGee, are a big pet peeve of mine. Huge pet peeve of mine. They're the records of the people. They're not your records specifically. So I guess I would ask Seth, and part of what you said, I don't understand why your business would be caught in that, or your personal email. It seems like all of you have an HHOH email, and all your information as regards to the city should go through that. So if you have an email to remind yourself, as at my business, my employees don't get to use their business email for personal use. So I don't understand why you would allow yourselves to use the HHOH for any personal use. That's why they're separate, so you can keep your personal stuff outside of that, and it would never be captured.
Yes, so I'll repeat, Mayor, through you, since I was called out, Ms. McGee, what we're referring to, and if I think I was clear, the correspondence between the tax administrator and myself actually went to my corporate email account.
Okay.
Not to hh.oh.org. So what you're insinuating did not happen in that situation.
So how did it get picked up in the public records request?
Great question. I have the same question.
That particular record, and I can't speak to some of the other ones that I'm less familiar with right at the moment, but that particular one, if it came from the tax administrator at the hhoh.org extension, then it would have been captured in the archiver as the sender.
And second, Mayor, we may disagree on this, Ms. McGee, but what I'm referring to regarding a note to myself was not to pick up milk on the way home. It was comments about what I wanted to follow up on to myself regarding what was actually, I don't know if it was what actually was taking place live, but on city stuff.
Right, and that would be part of the city records.
Excuse me. The point I'm making is I'm not an attorney, and I will submit to whatever not only state law is, but the policy is that this council sets upon itself through the Public Records Commission of the city, et cetera. I don't think that actually would qualify as a public record, per se. Now, again, I'll be happy to step aside on that because I really don't care that it's out necessarily. The point I'm trying to make is a public record, as I understand it, relates to a specific request or record that is establishing something of communication there. A note to myself, I don't think would qualify as a public record. If it does, I don't care. I'm not making a stink. My point is, we released, I don't tend to use the city's email for anything other than city business. And I tend to use the city's email for the city business because I have confidence that they're going to do a much better job of preserving that public record.
Right, then you use it appropriately.
Yeah, if you'd let me finish. Thank you. That's exactly right. I don't want it sitting on my corporate email address and get caught in a conversation where perhaps something has come up where I have now established a public record. I'm not going to say I've never done that. I'm going to say that I try to make a habit of ensuring that the proper email account is being used. I don't know what the rest of council does. I'm not going to ask what the rest of council does. I'm going to count that Tony and the law director.
I don't expect you to answer for them.
I understand that, if you'll let me finish.
I will.
Thank you. My point is that if we are not careful about managing the public records we have in the release and careful about defining what that record is, even in the city's email system, I guarantee you, and I'm not going to answer for the rest of council or even look at them, there will be a chilling effect on communication. Because if I can't send myself a note, if I can't have a one-off conversation with Mr. Campbell or Mr. Otto on a matter that doesn't get swept up into a conversation about, now that I would agree that's a public record, but my point is you're dramatically, and I should probably stop. No, I'm not going to stop there. You're dramatically shutting down that communication. What I want to know, I didn't ask for a specific policy. I've asked for the Public Records Commission of the city to review the policy. And I will further say this. I believe that if our understanding of that is anything revolving public business, I think there's a whole lot of social media websites or sites
I agree.
Are establishing public records that are not being captured in this.
I agree.
So we need to be consistent about how we think about this. Mm-hmm. And I frankly don't think we are. I think we've way overshot the runway on what's held by the city. And I think poor application of this policy will have an effect that is actually bad for transparency, because it will start moving people off of using the city's email, I guarantee you. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Right. I understand what you're saying. I'm just pointing out things that you said specifically, so that was the point of bringing that up, that email. So I will say that in part, in public records request, when there are communications between you, and not saying there's any vote, how does the public know how to do a specific public's request for that?
Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
And Mr. McDonald, feel free to step in. Yeah.
If somebody makes a public records request that's overly broad, we are required, and it's currently in our policy, to let you know, and then let you know how we keep it, and then let you know some ways we can get to what it is you want. What we can't do is ask you, why do you want it?
I understand.
There's certain things like that, so it's kind of hard, but our job is to try to find the record you're looking for. And I think what the concern is, our job is not to assist you in throwing the net and going on a fishing expedition, but if you want to find something, we'll help you find it. And we're required to do that by law.
I understand. It's not easy, I'm sure, on both sides, because I've been on the other side of it, trying to find information and getting feedback, which has been sometimes a contrary, a little pushback. So there's two sides of it. I understand. You have to have communication. You have to get things done. And do you wonder why people are continuing, and I don't know what the specific one is, why people are continuing to keep asking for these records? What are they missing? What do they want to know? I don't know. Is that why other communities aren't having so many?
May I, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. McGee, I think, first of all, I hope there's not two sides. I hope there's one side. or if there are two sides, I'm going to try to put myself on your side because I've been on your side. I've had to file public records requests not just with the city, but with the state. And I think it's an